Let's see. Okay, it says go live. Okay, go live on Facebook. Choose where you want to post your live video. Let's see. In a group. Let's see. The group would be Black Blockchain Consultants. Black Blockchain Consultants. Click. All right. Next. Okay. 5%.
Sounds like an alarm.
Oh, you hear something?
Yeah, I heard it sounds like an alarm.
Oh dear. Okay, it says it's going. Oh wait. Oh, I got to go through the whole process here. Okay, what do you guys normally type in here? Let's see. Oh, it's showing me.
Just say monthly membership meeting as a title.
Okay.
You don't have to do much more than that.
Okay. Monthly membership. Monthly membership meeting. ABC monthly membership meeting. All right. Say something about this live video. Anything there?
No.
Okay. All right. So I'm gonna press the go live. Nothing else needs to happen. Stream 0 and all this other stuff down here. No tags or anything.
No.
Okay.
No, we're not gonna be that fancy.
All right. Pressing go live.
Yeah, it's saying it's live on Facebook. Woot woot.
All right. Hello.
Okay, everybody. Thank you so much for working with us during this delay. Welcome. This is the May monthly meeting of the Black Blockchain Consultants. I'm Cherie. I'm the founder of the organization, here with the lovely Dr. Keisha Waddell, who is the executive director of the Center for Blockchain Studies.
Yes. Welcome, welcome all.
We're going to be the dynamic duo unless somebody else says that they want to come on tonight and talk about what we are, talk about blockchain and some of the things that are happening and have happened over the past couple of weeks within the industry. So first of all, we know that at least as of last week, Bitcoin was doing pretty well. Let's see what they're doing now. Has anyone checked? I used to check coin market cap every day, and now I barely get to it. So first of all, let's see what Bitcoin is doing in terms of pricing. So it's held and steady at $8,600, $8,700. I know that there were a couple of things. Some people thought it was going to hit 10,000 last week with consensus happening a couple of weeks ago and things like that. But then there was, of course, talk about some of the shifts in the industry, and it seems to be holding pretty steady. So first question I guess I have is, with all of the money that's still coming in to develop the infrastructure of the industry, are you surprised by the increase in the Bitcoin price? And question number 2, Dr. Keisha, is where do you, being the soothsayer, do you think that it's going to hit the higher levels that some people are estimating and believing that it will?
Yeah, let me check my tea leaves and my crystal ball here. But yeah, I would say, it's been down, in which case there's nowhere to go but up, and my thought, these different systems are cyclical, and there's so much going on. We got the new news with Microsoft, including Bitcoin in their Excel program.
Yeah.
So that sounds like
they're actually, I heard they were going to be building on the blockchain, on the Bitcoin blockchain, which very few companies do that. They usually use Ethereum, but the fact that Microsoft said that they're going to, first of all, from what I read, the Bitcoin blockchain is faster than it used to be. Okay. And then second is, this news, you're right, that Microsoft is going to build on the Bitcoin blockchain, is huge news.
Yeah, and they have actually put Bitcoin as one of the units of measure in their Excel programs, which is pretty cool. So again, sounds like mass adoption to me. So heading on up sounds like the way to go. In which case,
It's
hey, I'm expecting to go back to 10,000 or better.
Yeah, if who knows, it may be. At this time, everything with Bitcoin is speculation, but we do feel more and more confident that blockchain is definitely here to stay, you
Oh,
know.
no question about that. No
Yeah.
question about that. And the infrastructure is required for so many different things and so many different other technologies that it's definitely going nowhere at this point. But being developed more and finding more use cases, and
Mhm.
it truly is an exciting time.
Yeah. Now, I also read in an article that some of the bigwigs, higher ups, super rich, wealthy people
Mm.
in these institutional, um, they call them institutional investors, these big companies, these big investment funds, were trying to figure out how to add more than 21 million Bitcoin to the program to make more than 21 million Bitcoin. And the first thing I thought was Satoshi, and what he or
Oh,
they, because I think it's a they, I think
I
it's
think it's a
the
day as
person
well.
really thinks about that and how interesting it is that capitalism comes in and they want to change the rules.
Exactly. And
You know,
clearly they
I
haven't
just
read
thought
the
that was,
white paper, right?
I'm
I
sorry.
mean, it's that, trying to make it on par with fiat. That's not what we're trying to do here. We're trying to keep everything scarce and, make sure that Bitcoin retains its value. So, we don't need to, make more Bitcoin, in which case we're putting it on par with what we're doing with fiat, just printing off stuff, in which case it's worthless. So get out of there, leave it alone, and go
Yeah.
with what Satoshi was going with here.
Yeah. Yeah. But I also wonder how much Bitcoin is lost forever because people, passed away or they got rid of a computer or a laptop that had it on it. They can never, I've always been curious about that. And I believe we'll never know that answer, So yeah, we
So
could
funny you
have
bring that
21
up.
million, but how many are truly just lost out there and will never be recovered?
Truly, I'm thinking about that myself just very recently. It's so funny you should say that, because truth of the matter is, problems like that. I think we talked about this before. Problems like that end up being opportunities
Mhm.
because, my goodness, if you are somebody who's in, who you're one of those attorneys that do estate planning and things like that. I would be out there, I'd be out there saying, hey, you're playing around in this market. This thing is going up. Do you have your stuff in order? Something, help you out with all that kind of thing. Have people really start thinking about that again. So yeah, I do wonder that too. I do wonder that too. I'm sure there'll definitely be some that will just be kind of like probably like the hidden money that exists now. Fiat money, gold, and different things that are hidden in under the sea and in caves and all kind of stuff. So there we
Mhm.
go.
So our girl Talisha is on top of things. So she sent us this
Ooh,
link
look at that.
from Fortune magazine. So thank you, Talisha. You know you're my girl. Exclusive, nearly 4 million Bitcoins are lost forever, which is interesting because I'm doing a business plan for a client and there are about 3.9 million Bitcoins left to mine.
Mm,
So as many Bitcoins as there is left to mine, there are, it seems like Bitcoins that are lost forever, nearly
yeah.
4 million. So how many Bitcoins are gone forever, out of circulation, likely to be lost? 2.56 million. And then
Value.
original coins, 1.04 million.
Hmm.
So,
It's a little
interesting
bit,
here.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I wonder if the original coins, if this is what they believe Satoshi actually owns, or nobody knows where they are. I don't know.
Yeah, interesting. I guess we have to read up a little more.
Yes, yes. So, according
Oh,
to
look, just like I
Research
said,
by
it says,
Chain Analysis, a digital forensic firm that studies the Bitcoin blockchain, 3.79 million Bitcoins are already gone for good based on a high estimate, and 2.78 million based on a low one. And this is as of when? This was, as of 2017.
oh,
So, it could be more by now.
yeah, by now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So, and then at the time it was $8,500 per Bitcoin, which is roughly what it's worth now. So,
look at that.
interesting.
It
So,
is.
very cool. Alrighty then. Well, we got one question answered. So,
Ask and you shall find, huh?
yes. So, I want to go to this is actually something you posted in the knowledge sharing, Dr. Keisha. 5 business opportunities for blockchain. So this was in 2008, but we can see what is still valid here. And just again, we're all about whether you want a job or whether you want to start a blockchain-based business, just seeing the opportunities that are out here. So blockchain technology has completed its transition from geek tech to mainstream acceptance. From banking to healthcare, blockchain business applications are transforming the way data is stored and accessed. With 84% of companies already dabbling in blockchain tech, opportunities in this nascent market are there for the taking. Well, that's true. We have been talking about that since we started. So here are some blockchain use cases that they're going to discuss in this meeting, in this article. Banking, smart contracts, connected car, healthcare, Internet of Things, identity, marriage certificates, insurance, wills, and food safety. So, Dr. Keisha, out of this list here, what tickles your fancy? What's the most interesting to you?
To me, are those smart contracts. The smart contracts can be embedded into just about everything on this list, really. So, much like blockchain technology itself, it's that infrastructure type of that keeps everything going. So, yeah, smart contracts.
So why don't you tell everybody what a smart contract is, just in case we have some new people who do not know.
Sure. Smart contracts basically is the programmable, self-executing program that runs on the blockchain. It will be able to basically take a peer-to-peer transaction and execute all of the necessary conditions between that transaction automatically without a middleman. So as it says here, we got stock trades and real estate transactions. Like I said, just to name a few, because a lot of those, the smart contract can be worked into other types of applications that, like, what is it, music, music sharing, or if you're a person who is a creator of music, you don't have to worry about paying Spotify or whoever else. You can sell directly to your people and reap all the money, so there's so many different applications. But yeah, smart contracts, I really like that. It seems like there's so many things that just work. A smart contract, I think I've heard people describe it as being almost like a vending machine. You put your money in, you make your selection, either it's there and it just works, or if it's not there, it's not going to work. So it's nothing lost kind of thing.
Right. Right.
Yeah, that's my favorite. Smart contracts.
Right. So one of the things that I learned, so here's a plug for our virtual blockchain conference happening on June 12th.
Yes, coming up
from 9
fast.
a.m. to 8 p.m. We have I would say all except for one. Two presentations already done and in the can. So it's going to be a great day. We've got some great presentations and information. So if you want a ticket to that, it's virtualblockchainsummit.com, virtualblockchainsummit.com if you want to check it out. One of the things that we learned from the artificial intelligence expert, because she knows both artificial intelligence and blockchain, is I kept wondering, how is AI going to use blockchain? And we were told it's going to be done through the use of smart contracts. So that was something I learned just this week. And as soon as she said that, I'm like, oh, of course that would make sense.
Exactly.
So the machine needs a way to get the instructions, and the smart contracts are going to be the way that it happens.
Absolutely.
But they have a couple of other examples in here of smart contracts. So they have royalty distributions in the entertainment industry. Medical records can be secured by smart contracts so that only certain persons can access them, and only under certain predefined conditions. And I will add to that, they're also within blockchain setting it up so that certain people can only see certain pieces of information within your medical records. So let's say you want a specific doctor to see your physical health issues, but not your mental health and not all this other stuff. You can set it up like that. Number 3, public transportation scheduling can be automated according to pre-programmed rules. So I guess they're going to be putting the trains, planes, and automobiles into smart contracts. I don't know how that's going to work, but
can we go back to the medical records?
Sure.
About this whole thing about smart contracts and medical records, and particularly kind of the zero knowledge application you just mentioned. If you think about getting a second opinion, right? You don't want the other doctor to necessarily see what the other doctor has said. You want a fresh, look. So I thought that might be an application for that. Pretty much what you were just talking about, where certain pieces of information is made available.
Yeah, that's a good one. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah. Second opinions.
Yeah. So they also have here property titles can be automatically managed and transferred. So we've been talking a lot about real estate and the use of smart contracts in real estate, and loans can be processed automatically. Again, another real estate application. So
could we go back to a little bit and remember how you were just talking about artificial intelligence, and we were just talking about Internet of Things. Again, all of that information that's coming, all that data coming in is the information that the smart contract would need in real time so it can make these decisions. Like we're talking about property titles and things like that. The title companies have to find out if there's a cloud of encumbrance on a property or something like that. Those kinds of records, again, thinking about true mass adoption with interoperability, that information can be coming from these various places to verify that information and make a smooth transaction for, property titles, purchasing vehicles, all kinds of things like that.
Right.
I'm telling you, smart contracts, that's exciting.
It is exciting. So one of the things, if you're new to this, we always talk about picking a major or picking a niche. If you think about your blockchain journey in regards to going to college, in freshman and sophomore year, you do what? You take your basics, you take your basic classes. So within blockchain, as you're studying blockchain, you always want to think about what are the basics that I need to know about the industry, the technology, the terminology and lingo, and just overall what opportunities are available. And then in junior year in college, you pick a major and you go deep and you study within that major. So I always like to apply this to let's say you want to start a blockchain-based business and you are thinking, hey, smart contracts could be the way to go. There are a lot of different things you can do within the smart contracts portion of blockchain. So you could actually help program some of these smart contracts. And that doesn't mean you have to know Solidity. There are people now that are creating, they call them WYSIWYG. What you see is what you get, but user-friendly for non-coders, user-friendly technology so that we can go in and program our own smart contracts. And you may say, well, Shuri, why would anyone pay me to program their smart contract? The same reason why you would pay a lawyer to write your will for you. Or, people do that all the time. Some people will not trust themselves with the technology. Some people are going to look for people who are going to be strategists to help them figure out how to set this thing up. So you could be the go-to person to set up smart contracts for people. You can even take it a step lower and say, I just want to do this for real estate, or I just want to do this for medical records, or any industry that's out there, energy, there are going to be I'm going to say in Africa, because I know this to be true, there are places in rural Africa where the energy delivery is not as reliable. And they're talking about having these smart contracts where people who have too much energy are able to sell their energy directly to people who don't have enough. And this is going to be happening, and I'm sure there will be other use cases within the United States for these types of applications where people will be able to deliver certain items that are needed just directly. So what I want to encourage you to think about is this: what do I want to major in? And if you want to major in smart contracts, you could do it from an industry perspective. You could do it from a strategy perspective. We've talked about technical writing. We had Kamoy Matthews on a few weeks ago, and now she and I are actually have started a technical writing staffing agency. You can just be the person that's delivering the content for this and doing the write-ups in terms of knowledge articles and help center articles and explainer videos and things like that, just around smart contracts and working with different companies that have smart contract products to sell.
And really the truth of the matter is the riches is in the niches, that way you can really become an expert in that area and grow with that with that area as things change. Because truly, I do expect that smart contracts will be one of those areas where, the different dApps or decentralized applications will be able to kind of click together, some code that does something already. You'll just be able to kind of stack it on each other and just make it happen.
Yeah. And with that, I see that Saritta is here. So I got one final thing to say before we bring Saritta on. And that is, I've been talking with various people about this concept. We as a community, it would be advantageous for us to pick 3 or 4 areas of blockchain and dominate those areas as a community. Just like there are other cultures that dominate certain areas, like nails, and my nails are done. The Vietnamese culture has dominated that. And because of that, they are able to really move in a way that we as a community haven't been able to. So I've been speaking with various people about what are some of the areas within blockchain, or just period, within technology that we can dominate, and really kind of having a concerted effort where our goal within Black Blockchain Consultants is to have 1 million people educated. Well, out of those million, let's say we can get 10,000 to get into smart contracts and that industry, what we can do. Now, all of a sudden, you've got a group of, thousands of people that can go into a project and make something happen within a portion of the industry. So, yeah, so go ahead.
I was just saying, I really like that idea, and this is a absolute opportunity for all of these ideas to come to fruition.
Absolutely. And we have our tokenization of assets group. If anybody is on here who is not a member of BBC, or you're interested in the tokenization aspect of it, we have a very strong team. We have joined the Crowdfunding Professional Association. We are looking to educate people and help them securitize their assets. And we want to be the leading organization in Black America that is helping the community take their assets and put them on the blockchain and securitize them. So, if that's of interest to you, that's going to be one area that we have chosen to dominate. And I want to thank Eric Spence for his leadership in that. So with that, Saritta, do you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you guys hear me?
We can hear you. We can't see you. We don't know if you want to be on the screen or not.
Oh yeah, I'll go ahead and do that. My apologies. Today I've been running with my head cut off with the spin of last week of school and dropping my daughter off at swimming. I forgot her glasses. It's just I'm a mess today. So
it's okay. We kind of started without you, but we're glad you're here.
Thank you. I tried to share my video, but it said the host disabled it.
Oh, so Dr. Keisha, you're the host now.
I'm the host now. Oh boy, let's see. What do I need to do? Let's see. Sharing. Who can share? Panelists, all that. Ooh. Video settings.
Well, we'll get started anyway while Dr. Keisha is trying to fix that. Talisha's giving you some instructions if you want to see
more under attendees. Okay.
Saritta, so welcome.
Mine doesn't say that.
Welcome to Black Blockchain Consultants. So we're going to take this interview and break it up into 3 different parts. The first is your past and how you got involved. Were you always a techie? How did you get involved with blockchain, et cetera? Then we're going to take it to the present, what Trust a Bit is, what you're doing, and then the future. What do you see the future in with regards to the industry, as well as your own company? And then the fourth thing is how BBC can help you and can help Trust a Bit. If there are opportunities or jobs or things that you need help with, then we want to be a resource to you as well. So that's going to be the program for today, and we're going to do it in 20 minutes.
Okay.
So
I
that
can
we
do that.
respect everybody's time.
Yes, definitely.
So let's start off with just a little bit about you, your past, and who was Saritta as a child, and then how did we get here where we are today?
Okay, cool. I've always been into tech. It was actually my mother who got me involved when I was about 8. I'm probably telling my age here, but she brought home one of those Apple IIe computers, and the community college that she was going to kind of gave them away to people in the area to encourage them to learn more or whatever. So she gave it. She didn't give it to me, but I thought it was mine. So I just immediately took it apart because I was just so fascinated with it. And, when she noticed it, she didn't get mad. She just said, you know what, fix it. So it took me like 2 summers to fix it, just to get the power button to come on. And then another summer to get like the floppy disk to actually read. So that's what pretty much started it. I'm doing this campaign called She Can STEM with PBS. There's a research that shows that girls they don't get interested in tech after they pass the like age 11, between 11 and 13 is like that crucial part.
Mm-hmm.
And that's actually what happened to me. Like, I didn't like it anymore. I thought it was a boy thing. And then I kind of just did it on the side so nobody would know. But then, you know, I joined the military and I got interested in it again. Actually, I was learning about cryptography. So after that, things just kept. I went back to school and I got my degree in computer information systems. So I would say I'm a techie, but I don't code. But I know how to set up like server environments and like make visualizations from different business intelligence tools.
Very cool. So we have to ask you what branch you're in.
I was in the Navy.
You were a Navy girl. Oh my
Yes.
goodness. Oh wow. Yeah, I have several family members who were in the, Army and Air Force. So
Oh, okay. Yep.
yeah. So, all right, great. So then, how did you get started with Trust a Bit?
That was an interesting thing. So what happened was I started to hear about like Bitcoin and Ethereum, maybe about really heavy, like 2016. And then I looked at it and I was like, I can build this machine so it can make me some digital gold. Why not? So me and my daughter, that was me passing down again. You know, I had her, she was 7 at the time. I said, come on, we'll put this mining rig together. So I kind of did that. And then I was working for a company in San Diego called ASML. And they started hearing about blockchain too. And all of a sudden I became the blockchain person. And I only knew about it for like 2 months, but that was still like a lot.
That's what happens.
It's what happens. And I was just transparent. I'm like, hey, I'm learning as you are, but this is what I know. And I ended up helping them. We were doing a PLC to track parts for the lasers. It's the same as like tracking like diamonds, to make sure. They want to know like how much zinc was in this specific part and like what mine did it come from. So we were using like a blockchain implementation for that. And then as I started doing it, I was like, this kind of reminds me of like when the internet boom, and I missed out on it. I was aware and I was there, but I missed out.
We all have the same story.
Yes. I was like, why didn't I at least like start registering domain names, or why did I like not pay attention in my Java class, like all of that. So I was like, I'm not going to do that again. So I quit and I started Trust a Bit, and I've been kind of like doing that since going on 2 years right now.
So what is Trust a Bit? Tell everybody what the blockchain does, the technology.
So we use Hyperledger Fabric, which is it's like an enterprise grade blockchain. There's no miners. And the concept behind it is that we use it to increase business processes, free up customer service agents. So when you really wouldn't see you really wouldn't see Trust a Bit because it will be a white labeled solution. Okay. But the problem we solve is that if your flight is delayed or canceled, we are the piece that works in the background that sends you notification. And then also, if you're due compensation, we send you that information as well. So you can immediately process your compensation, whether it's in vouchers, miles, or currency.
How did you latch on to this as a problem that needed to be solved?
For me, it's easy. I kind of look for issues that I can explain easily, because if I can't explain it easily, I don't understand it, and I don't expect anybody else to understand it. So a lot of times when I would go to like these blockchain conferences and you'd hear projects that they were working on, it confused me, and I'm like, well, what are you solving? So it's like I need something that's like that would be customer facing and everybody would understand quickly. So 2 of the industries that we landed on was either escrow or something in the transportation industry, specifically with delayed flights. And delayed flights was a bigger problem, so we just stuck with that route.
Interesting. Do you? I'm being nosy here. Do you have competitors like, is anybody else trying to solve the same problem, or are you the real market dominating solution?
Yeah.
Yep, we do have competitors, and I think that's healthy for the industry. I side eye people when they say they have no competition, because it makes me think that you didn't really do your research for that. There's always competition.
Right.
So we have competition where I like to call them flight delay chasers. So they're the people, like you see them on Twitter all the time. If someone will say, "Hey, EasyJet, my flight has been delayed. Can you help me?" A company like AirHelp or Flightbright will immediately respond and say, "Hey, we can help you. Click this link." But of course, they'll charge you 25%, a 25% fee just to fight that claim.
Mm.
And then there are others that are more so, like Amadeus is one of our competitors. There's another one called Flight Buddy or 15 Below, Stranded Flight Solutions. So they're less than 10.
Well, that's good. You're right. It is healthy to have some competitors, because that means that other people recognize the problem as well. And there's two schools of thought. One is, and I'm putting on my business hat here, one is crush the competition at all costs, squash them like bugs. And then the other is mine, which is I want to get my piece of the pie. So, because there's going to be a way that I handle business or the solution that people will like, and then other people will say, no, I want this other company to do it because they have something that they like. And you could still make 9 figures being the company, the solution that a certain segment of the audience or the market wants. So I will throw that out there to you as well, if you have any comments with regards to that.
Absolutely. And then, that, like you said, it's healthy to have competition, and always, you need to keep your eye on them as well. So there are a few companies that we're pretty far in the process with that they have one of our competitors right now. But that competitor only does flight notifications. So it took us, we had to pivot and say, okay, well, we know that we know there's competition, but how do we set ourselves apart? So we decided to break our solution up into 3 modules. So it'll be notification, compensation, and then compliance. And those are, so we sell it that way. So if we're approaching LATAM and Latin America, and they're already using, let's say, 15 Below for notification, okay, that's fine, but we're using to make sure you stay compliant with flight regulations. Oh, we're not using anyone. Well, this is how we can fit in.
Right. So we have a question here from Talisha. She's asking, how did you select the platform for Trust-A-Bit?
That was easy. It was talking when I was working at ASML. They didn't like the idea of a public blockchain and having company secrets on a public blockchain for all to see. They also didn't like the fact that a group of people can wake up one day and decide to fork the network, and you have to follow their new software changes. So then that's how I started looking more into private blockchain solutions, and specifically Hyperledger Fabric.
Yeah, I am, well, everyone knows who has been here since the beginning that I have said I find it hard to believe that these big corporations are going to use public blockchains.
No, not at all.
I was having a conversation. So we're having a virtual blockchain summit. And one of the conversations that I had, I brought that up. And the gentleman said that there were a lot of companies in the very beginning that didn't want to use the internet. So they decided to use the intranet. And then that didn't work. So then they decided to connect with the internet. And I was kind of like, yeah, but they still
have
some
internet.
of their stuff that's behind the firewall. So,
Can I just say, you bring up I'm sorry. You're bringing up a really good point, though, because the way blockchain had been kind of put out there, the news was that it was just going to save everything and you wouldn't need anything else. But the truth of the matter is that it's going to coexist with, many of the things, just like we've said before. We have the internet, we have the intranet, we still have paper, pencil, we have
we do.
databases. We're talking about the appropriate use case for this thing. So
That's
and
great
so
point.
much of this will still have a place, because it will be able to save time and save money and in that way, but those other systems will definitely likely still be around. So
and they're expensive as well. And it was kind of one of those things that we kind of use Amazon leadership principles. They're amazing, and we kind of use that to help like shape our company culture. And one of them is it's called Our Right a Lot. What that means is that like good leaders, they're not always right, but they're more right than they are wrong, and they make those great decisions early on. And I'm glad I had like such a good team to kind of talk through that, because one thing that I didn't realize and was that let's say if we use Ethereum. Now, Ethereum, you have to pay to process those smart contracts. You also have to pay AWS or Amazon Web Services every time you process one of those smart contracts. So you can build twice. So it's like, okay, this price is really going to explode if we're trying to do like, maybe 3,000 transactions per second. So just double that. Now, if we go to a private blockchain, we're not paying to process those transactions like to Hyperledger Fabric because it's enterprise and it's open source. We're only paying it to AWS.
Yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense. And one of the things, sometimes early on, we try to make decisions that are cheaper, and then they end up costing us more in the end, or faster, just when we're trying to get something up, and it ends up costing us more in the end. So, it's important sometimes for us as entrepreneurs or startup team members to take a step back and ask ourselves, are we setting ourselves up to have a big problem in 3 to 5 years because we're not willing to take longer today to do something properly and build a great foundation. So.
Exactly. And that's another one. It's another principle called bias for action, which means that we all know the person. Like I have a couple friends. She said, well, I'm going to work out when I lose 10 pounds. And it's like, okay, but then, they never get to do it. And then you have that other person. It was like, well, I'm about to work out right now. And they just immediately start to do it. And that's the same I see with like a lot of blockchain projects, is that there's some great ideas, but sometimes people just spend so long worrying about like the smallest thing about it that you fail a launch. So it's like, make the decision, be smart about it, and build your solution to a point that you can pivot and it won't bring the whole house down. But at least you're still building.
Yeah. Now, I follow you on social media, Saritta, and you are doing a lot of traveling now and doing a lot of speaking at various blockchain projects. So how did you become, I'm going to call you one of the ones to watch, because you really are. You're doing a lot of traveling. And you can even tell people some of the places you've traveled over the past year. But how did you become one of the ones to watch for those people who are really trying to follow in your footsteps?
I didn't stop. And my friends say this about me all the time. They'll say, well, Saritta, we'll just be talking about like, I used to sell hair, and when people are like, well, how many jobs did you have? I'm like, oh, about 20 probably, and I used to sell hair.
That's me.
So funny.
And I'm like, okay, we have the idea, and the next time you talk to me, which is like a week later, I've already set up the website, I've already sourced a vendor from Alibaba. Now I just need you to sell it. So it's just, I just keep going, and I figure there are some mistakes that I made, but I haven't made those mistakes that have crumbled us. And I think the best decision I've made was joining that aviation accelerator in Ireland. So that started like all of my traveling, like going back and forth to Ireland, being able to sit next to like the CEO of Aer Lingus and have him give me his opinion on our solution, or say, well, we don't need it. Well, here, meet my friend at Stobart Air. That meant a lot. And then also what I stopped doing was I stopped going to blockchain conferences, and I started to go specifically to aviation conferences.
Mm-hmm.
And that helped out a lot.
Yeah.
So it's like, even if you're doing like blockchain and agriculture, you can, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with those conferences, but go to the agriculture conferences, because that's where your clients are at.
Yep, that makes sense. And that's when you can hear the true problems that you can then create a solution for.
Exactly. Because you just be preaching to the choir the whole time you go. I'm like, we all know how great it is, but it's like, okay, if you're going after the music industry, go to those music industry events. And that's what we did. And the traveling has been crazy on me, but especially like on my body and just being away from the kids so much, but it's worth it. And I think our next two conferences are, what month is this? This is May, June. June, we're going to Frankfurt, Germany for Plug and Play and a Star Alliance demo day. And then right after that, we're going to Istanbul for another, it's called Future Travel Experience. And it's all aviation related.
Cool. I love Istanbul.
I've never been.
Yeah. So I remembered you were in Hong Kong a couple of months ago as well. So you were
Singapore. Yes.
I'm sorry.
Singapore.
Yeah, Singapore. Yeah, yeah. I know it's one of the Asian countries. I was like, my girl is doing it. Out there.
I gotta get out there. And, let me tell you one of my hacks because I always share information, and it's like, hey, we all need to come up. Let me tell you how I did this. So I figured out that when I wanted to go to the aviation conferences, if you looked at the panels, no one looked like me. So I said, okay, let me see what we can do. So we have a director of communications on our team, and I was like, hey, Shanna, I want you to kind of like write an email that says, take my words and turn it into something respectable, and say, we've looked at your panel, we've noticed that there are no women and there are no Black women. Can we attend? And also, by the way, we're a startup. We don't have we don't have the funds to pay for it. It works 99.5% of the time.
Ooh. You know what? You should have your director of communications come and give us the script. Yeah. Because one of the things I was actually literally writing this as you were talking, was your willingness to pay to play, but you still had to get on a plane. You had to spend money to get on the plane. You had to spend money for a hotel. Sometimes we're not willing to pay to meet the right people. And I did this course called, I think, becoming a six-figure consultant, six-figure blockchain consultant. And one of the things I know just from being in business all these years is that the best way to meet the right person, like if there's somebody you are trying to connect with, is to find out when they're speaking and to go to that conference and to speak with them before they get on the stage and know exactly what you're going to say and be able to have a conversation with them and get whatever it is a contact information. Anytime I've done that, I've been successful. I got on TV.
Definitely.
Because of that. I've gotten A-list people to come here to this platform. I've gotten so much, but that is the key. You have to be willing to go and meet some of these high profile people face to face.
Meet them where they're at. Definitely. Like And the reason I kept kind of stopped going to blockchain conferences is because they'll send us a package and say, oh, you can speak, but it's like $20,000. It's like, I just raised $50,000. I'm gonna give you half of that just to go speak for 10
No,
minutes. Like,
no, it's not worth it.
it's not
No.
gonna work. But yeah, I'll pay my plane ticket and I'll pay for the hotel. But like, I barter like crazy to not have to pay to speak or to have a booth, because sometimes all it takes is just to recognize that there are manuals. Manuals are panels that's just full of men. Recognize that that's what they do, and just, just bring it up in a subtle way, and then make yourself available for it.
Yeah.
I love
Well,
that.
I mean, in terms of pricing, the consensus ticket price went down this year. And I think we're seeing that people are starting to get a lot more reasonable with these blockchain conferences. 'Cause they were crazy in 2018. It was out of control. So
definitely, everybody had Lambos, and it's like, oh, well, we'll charge $5,000 to get in. It's like, well, no, I couldn't look my investors in the face and tell them I spent $10,000 to go to a conference. I couldn't have that conversation. So
right.
it's like, I'm not going to do that.
Right. Well, not only that, we tend to be very conservative with our money as Black people and as women.
Yes. We do more with less.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I'm the public school teacher, so I'm always like looking for something free to leverage or something. So yeah. So
yes, tell you when I go out of town, my friends will tell you, like, I pack like at least like 8 things of not ramen noodles. I stepped up a little bit and I got top ramen. But I'm like, I'm not buying this on the plane. Like, I'm not spending $10 for the same noodles that I just spent $2 for. It's like, no. Can I just have hot water? It's just.
But
I'm not quite that frugal, but I can learn something from you. I'm not quite that frugal. So let's talk about how Black blockchain consultants can help Trust a bit. Do you have any job openings? Do you need anything special? Because sometimes there are people on this call that have a skill that maybe Trust a bit needs to get to the next level.
Absolutely. And all of our needs are not like technical related. There are things that are technical and non-technical that we need. I would say the thing that's burning us right now is marketing, and how to market to the aviation professionals. Like, how do we get their attention? Because we know it's not LinkedIn, we know it's not social media, period. So how do we get to them?
Great. So if somebody has that gift, what's the best way for them to connect with you?
Email is perfect. It's Saritta@trustabit.io. Okay. And the other thing that's definitely on fire is account. I would say salespeople. I know that they're the most important people on my team, and I treat them that way. So it's like salespeople, developers, and then everybody else. Yeah. Because I know without them, the Trust a Bit wouldn't run. So we have a great sales guy now, but we're always looking to add to that, so we could, and we definitely would want them to have, like, if it's not aviation experience, but then it would need to be like B2B sales.
Okay. All right. So speaking of that, before you came on, Saritta, we were talking about jobs and different opportunities, and sales is another great opportunity that's out there for people. Every organization that we've spoken with thus far has mentioned getting salespeople. So, it's definitely a need out there. So, any final words you have for the family?
I would just say thank you for the support. I'm more than grateful for it. And if there's anything that I can help with, if anyone, I'm really good at spotting BS when it comes to like technical things. So if it's like a technical white paper you want me to look at, or if you have questions about maybe like where you should host your solution, or just anything like that, I'm always available.
Yeah, thank you. We really appreciate that. You definitely have been a friend to us here at BBC. So really want to thank you for that. Dr. Keisha, any final words?
Oh, I just hope that everybody really are really listening in on the nuggets that are being shared here. How we can't be cheap about getting out to meet people. We got to step outside of our comfort zone. We got to hone in on our areas of interest. There's just been a lot of good information here. So. Truly, I hope this is not just something that you're watching, but something that you're acting on. I think that's the biggest thing, because the time is now, and
Mm-hmm.
it's going fast. You don't want to look back and say, "Gosh, I shoulda, coulda, woulda." This is the time. Act
It's
on it.
gonna hurt.
That
It's
you
gonna hurt to look back.
yes.
It will. It will.
Yes.
And just like Saritta, I missed Internet 1.0.
Mm-hmm.
I
That
missed
still
Internet
hurts.
2.0. I do not want to miss this. So we are really, really focused on picking a niche, finding a couple of things that we want to do as a group. But you
Mm-hmm.
also know that as BBC members, you can always hang up your own shingle and say, this is what I'm doing and I'm looking for a team. And we support that as well. Our goal is to get 1 million Black people involved in blockchain, to either get blockchain jobs or to start blockchain-based businesses, or to just invest in blockchain projects that they're interested in from an educated point of view. It's going to take all of us to really turn the ship in our community, and we want to make sure we're on top of that. Also, final plug for the Virtual Blockchain Summit, virtualblockchainsummit.com. It's going to be on June 12th. We have all sorts of conversations that are happening with people who has raised serious money. They are running successful blockchain businesses. We have other panels talking about blockchain jobs.
Oh, that's nice.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Keisha. Blockchain jobs, and how to get wealth from this $3.1 trillion industry. So there's a little bit of something for everybody on that day. And it's, again, virtualblockchainsummit.com for you to get registered for that. And if you are a member of BBC, we put in $100 cold hard cash giveaway. So check the Flock group for the instructions, because Audrey is handling that. She just said, Cherie, can I do it? And I said, yes. I don't even know what they are. So you all need to check Flock and see how Audrey put that together. So
you're making
I want to say, I'm sorry?
I was just going to say, we're making fiat valuable again.
Yes. And you can take the fiat and buy your own Bitcoin or your own Ethereum. That's that'll be up to you. So with that, I want to say God bless everybody, and you all know where I am if you need me. And other than that, I hope that we see you next week, next Wednesday, same time, same place.
Okay.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.